Hi YouTube, it's me Tyler again. I'm here today with my friend Sarah. We're going to be talking today about the third update of my Soylent experiment. But before we get to my update, first thing is when I ordered the new subscription, it came in the mail here in this box on my left. And you'll notice from the front of the box, it went from version 1.4 to version 1.5. So new version, which was interesting. You can go online and see what the differences are. Basically, they changed some ingredients because of cost and supply issues, but it's the same basic formula. But the first thing that we're going to do today is have Sarah try Soylent for the first time. And the reason I invited Sarah to come on is because, unlike me, Sarah loves food. She's amazing at making food. It's a big part of her life and her family's life. So I want to get her impressions of it and have her talk a little bit about what she thinks about Soylent. Sound like a plan?
Yep, sounds like a plan.
Okay, so I'm going to go grab the pitcher and some glasses, and we're going to have a Soylent dinner on camera. Be back in a minute. All right, we're back. Table is set, and are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Fresh day's supply of Soylent. I'm going to pour mine first to make sure it's okay.
I thought you were a gentleman.
Well, this can be your glass. So one of the things that I found when I mixed my first batch of the version 1.5 is that there was actually clumping in it. This does not have that, so I just took a little more time to mix and shake the Soylent before I put it in the fridge, and this time it looks like that has taken care of it. So this is, I think, about a 16-ounce glass, 12-ounce glass, so this might be a little bit more than one serving. Well, we'll see. We'll see how you like it. Cheers.
Cheers.
First thoughts?
I feel like it's like drinking fluid oatmeal, like liquid oatmeal.
Yeah. What
like
about it?
Cream of wheat.
Yeah.
Something about the taste.
Yeah. What do you think? Is it bad? Is it good?
No, it doesn't really have any flavor.
Yeah, it's just kind of there.
It's like cheap, stale cereal. That's what it tastes like.
That's a fair assessment, actually. So
the texture's good.
yeah, it's not. That's one of the things I was worried about at first was that it would be like a lot of protein shakes where it's really grainy and like almost tastes like chalk, but you don't really get this, and that's, I mean, just with hand shaking it, so it didn't even
There's a creaminess to it as well.
Yeah.
It is a little grainy, but there's a creamy
little thickness to it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people add flavorings to it. So they'll add like peanut butter or chocolate flavor or honey.
In a blender?
I think so. Maybe just hand stirring it. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
So is this something that you could see yourself eating or drinking?
I couldn't see it as my main way of getting nutrition, but I can definitely see it as a meal replacement for like once or twice a day.
Really?
For me.
Like, would you actually do that? Because I think that's the thing that a lot of people are skeptical about. It's one of the reasons I tried it is I thought, well, okay, I'll do that once or twice a day. Mm-hmm. And then, like most things, I'll probably forget, and then after a couple of weeks, it'll just sit on a shelf and I'll never use it again. So I don't know, what do you think? Like,
I'm not a big breakfast eater. The biggest meal I eat every day is dinner. Mm-hmm. And so for me, if I put some focus into it, I could see myself drinking one a day for sure.
Like for breakfast?
For breakfast or in between the breakfast hour and the lunch hour, because that's usually when I get hungry. and I'm really busy, so I don't usually in the week sit down and prepare any sort of lunch.
Yeah.
So yes, I could definitely see myself drinking this.
And that's one of the things that you were mentioning a few minutes ago is that you like your daughter drinks, what is it, Pediasure?
Yeah,
is that right?
Pediasure.
And it's kind of like a meal replacement drink, like a Slim Fast or a protein shake or something for kids.
Picky eaters.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like the meal that I always have this for after a couple of months now is breakfast.
Okay.
Exactly for the same reasons you had. Like, don't have a lot of time in the morning. I get distracted. And the other thing I've found over time is, at first for breakfast, I would just drink the whole thing and go. And now I find myself taking it with me in the car, and so I'll have a little bit over the course of like an hour or two. So it doesn't fill me up like a gut bomb all at once, but it's nutrition over the course of a couple hours, which is supposed to be
better.
Supposed to be better for you.
Yeah.
So the other question I have, and this is the big question, is what do you think about this as a product? Like, other than how it actually tastes, as someone who really loves food and is a big part of your life, like, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, seeing the website and learning more about it from that, it's very simple website, and it's, in my opinion, asking people to adopt a whole lifestyle, because it's saying that you can replace all food with Soylent, which I think is a really big thing to ask of people. And just because food is such a focal point in most people's lives, in most cultures to some degree, food is a huge part of people's lives. And kitchens, what I was telling you, is like a focal point in a lot of homes, and that's how I grew up for sure. And food is something that I use as a gathering point in my life. You know, I have people at my house all the time for meals. So I feel like the product may need some tweaking, and I feel like when I say that, I feel like Soylent needs to find some angles to target certain demographics and not just replace all food in your life with this, because I don't feel like that's realistic. Even if that's their objective, I think they need to get there slowly.
Yeah.
And because it's very hard for people, because it's not just about food, like cutting out junk food or fast food. You're asking people to cut out a part of their culture, part of their life.
Yeah, that is a big thing. Yeah. There was a term you used a minute ago that I've never heard before. Can you like explain that for folks? And I think it's a great
what was it?
dink
Oh, dink.
To describe like the type of people that might actually be a Soylent customer.
So since living in Seattle, I've heard the term said two different ways, tink and dink, and it means the same thing, dual income, no kids, or two income, no kids. And I can see people in that part of their life, this would be ideal, especially in a place like Seattle. People are very active, they're very busy, and they're very health conscious for the most part. And a lot of people here do not have children until they're well into their 30s, late 30s from what I've seen. So I could see that being a great demographic to go after for Soylent as what they are now, where they are now.
Cool. That's awesome. So maybe we'll have another follow-up video in the future if I can convince her daughter Fiona to try it. We'll see. She may revolt against that, but I think it'd be interesting to see, you know, for kids.
Yeah.
It's something I hadn't thought about before, but if you have a picky eater, if the taste and texture, like if they're willing to try it once and it's good, that is a huge cost savings over like Pediasure and those kinds of things.
And the Pediasure has a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
And this has way less sugar. So, but with kids, I think you would have to do an additive, peanut butter.
Yeah, something to really like add some flavor to it.
Things are so full of flavor that I think kids
just want.
It's almost a part of their day.
Maybe we could come up with a formula that's like cheap macaroni and cheese Soylent.
Flavored Soylent.
I think it'd be good.
Yeah, there's your $1 million idea.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. So yeah, there you go. Well, thanks for trying it.
Yeah, no problem.
And you like I'm glad that you have such a different perspective on it, because it's something that, as a single person, I love going over to dinner parties and having social dinners, but that's like the exception to the rule for me. And actually, that's been my biggest challenge. So I'm trying for the next couple of weeks to just have Soylent and not have any other food. And that's the biggest struggle so far, is not that I crave food, it's going out with friends or having lunch meetings at work. It's all the social times and places where there's an expectation of having appetizers or meals as part of a group, that I would be fine from a nutritional standpoint of bringing a mug with me and drinking my Soylent, but from a social standpoint, like it's just weird.
I don't think Soylent is realistic for full-time, intake of nutrients. I don't think it's realistic, especially in Seattle. It's such a foodie town.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm sure this is out in many other places, but that's been really challenging. So I think it might be better targeted as a meal replacement for breakfast and lunch and a snack, and then or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. Unless you're like a hermit living in a cave out in the woods somewhere, or I'm still interested to try this, like going hiking or camping.
Yeah.
Yes. But the fact that it has to be refrigerated and refrigerated for like hours before you can drink it, that's a big hurdle for, especially if you're hiking for several days. It's like, where are you going to keep it cold? How are you going to keep it cold?
They need to create accessories like pouches or something.
Yeah, you need some way to have like single serve, easy storage, or pre-made, something like that. And that doesn't really matter so much with this, but it's only good for, they say 2 days. Everything I've read online says 3 days is still fine. Okay. But once you've mixed it, you basically have 3 days to drink the amount you've mixed. So it keeps for 2 years in the package, but not so much once you've
So then there's travel and all kinds of other
a bunch of other stuff. So I don't know, the camping thing I'm still not sold on yet. I might try it on a hike or something maybe later this summer.
That'd be a good idea. What were the noticeable changes between the last version and this version?
So the big thing, it's kind of neat when you order every shipment and you get release notes, which is kind of cool. The big thing is, or several big things, is there's apparently a shortage of rice starch on the market, so they replaced much of the rice starch with potato starch, which I don't know that it's made any significant taste difference, but the things that do have a significant taste difference is they cut the amount of salt. There wasn't much in here anyway, so it was 3.2 grams, and now they cut out 0.6 grams. So that's actually a pretty big reduction, even though there wasn't much there. So it doesn't have really any salty flavor to it at all to me anymore. It used to have kind of a nice a little bit of a salty aftertaste that I actually liked a lot. And then the other thing is they cut the sucralose in here, and they also changed the oil blend a little bit. So it used to be safflower and flaxseed oil, and now they've switched to sunflower and canola oils, which, again, supposedly the main reasons for that are more technical than taste profile. So it apparently keeps better and mixes better and those kinds of things. But I think that with the sucralose also has made it a little bit less sweet, which is actually one thing that I don't know that I dislike it, but I liked that it was a little more naturally sweet before. So I may actually try adding some honey again to it and seeing if that makes any substantial difference, just to do something different, from day to day. But pretty small changes. Actually, the other change that they have is a packaging update, which has a whole bunch of disclaimers. The one at the bottom, which I'm just now reading for the first time, says that children, women who are pregnant, nursing, or may become pregnant should consult their doctor before consuming Soylent.
They put that on everything now.
I think this is primarily and then there's some verbiage about populations, including children under the age of 10. I think that's a lot more to do with potential food allergies than anything on the product itself. Just because, with kids and especially women who are pregnant, like you can have pretty crazy reactions sometimes to the foods that you may not realize like you had any problem with. So, I guess if you're under 10, you should ask your parents before you drink it. And if you're pregnant, you should ask your doctor before you drink it. But yeah, it seems pretty reasonable. That's kind of the update for now. Still drinking it. I actually have gone from doing single orders to a 1 week a month subscription plan. Although I'm running out of this stuff really quickly now that I'm really trying this kind of replacement diet or replacement plan. It's not really a diet. So I may end up having to up my subscription to get me through this month. But, we'll see how the month goes if I get tired of it, drinking it that much. Over the past few months, it's really been like what you were saying earlier. For breakfast, most days, occasionally for dinner if I get home late and I would rather order pizza, but this is a lot less expensive and a lot better for me. So are you trying to go from now until the 4th of July weekend to just Soylent? That's going to be the plan. Like, I know that it's unrealistic to cut out everything because, we got events. We all hang out and go to dinner and stuff. So I'm going to have social meals. I'm not going to cut out everything, but I'm going to try to only, kind of on my own time, only have Soylent for breakfast and lunch and dinners when it's just me. And we'll see what happens. I have to say, I'm not too worried about it because I haven't gotten tired of it yet. And I actually have a canteen that I take to work with me for lunch every day. So I keep this in the fridge until lunch is ready, and that keeps it nice and cold. And this has actually been really useful, both because it's a great way to transport it, but also if I'm driving or during the workday, I don't have to drink it all at once. Like, I can just set it on my desk and it'll stay cold for a couple of hours. So I can sip on it through the day. And it's actually had a big impact in that I don't tend to want snacks towards the end of my workday. Were you a big snacker before? So it's really convenient at the office because we have like a snack area in the cafeteria where I can go in, and they have healthy stuff. They've got popcorn and things, yogurt and things like that. But they also have candy bars and like fill your own bags of like yogurt covered raisins and like so much good stuff that is both not very good for you and really expensive. Yeah. They charge like, I think it's like $14 a pound for the mixed stuff. Yeah, it's really, really expensive. So this has helped me cut back on that stuff quite a bit, which is good. Yeah. So yeah. Well, cool. Well, hey, thanks for helping out today. I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah. And if you want to see more about Soylent, let me know if you have comments, questions, suggestions. If you want Sarah back to talk about more stuff, let me know about that too. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.